Long ago, there was the people of Ad, one of the extinct nations mentioned in the Holy Quran. They were the first people to whom God sent a messenger after the people of Noah, peace be upon him. They were a great tribe that lived in the region of Al-Ahqaf, known for strength and might. God described them in the Quran as the strongest people of their time. And remember when he made you successors after the people of Noah and increased you greatly in stature. The people of Ad traced their lineage back to Ad, son of Os, son of Iram, son of Sam, son of Noah. They were from the ancient Arabs who perished completely before the rise of the original and Arabized Arabs. The land of Ad was prosperous and full of blessings. Streams of water flowed everywhere. They lived in unmatched luxury. They had such strength and wealth that they believed themselves immortal. There was no fear in their hearts, and in their arrogance they repeated, "Who is stronger than us?" But in the midst of this wealth and pride, they were blind to the truth. They drowned in disbelief and misguidance, worshiping idols made by their own hands, placing them in their wide courtyards and believing they brought good and prevented harm. It was a strange scene, people strong in body but imprisoned by false beliefs. They forgot the Creator who had blessed them and chose to worship creation instead of the Creator. The people of Ad were a mighty nation skilled in construction and engineering. No nation matched them in physical strength or architectural greatness. They built palaces and towering pillars reaching toward the sky, as God described them. Iram of the lofty pillars, the like of which was never created in the land. Their tyranny extended beyond idol worship. Their injustice filled their daily dealings. They despised the weak, oppressed the poor, and exploited anyone without power. Corruption touched every part of their society. Their markets overflowed with fraud and deceit. Justice was absent. Only the strong received their rights. Their corruption extended to nature itself. They cut down trees and smashed rocks simply to boast. They built huge palaces with no need except to show their power. They believed this strength would make them eternal and that their actions would bring no consequences. In the midst of this darkness, the cries of the oppressed filled the land. Injustice spread everywhere. Al-Ahqaf awaited a day when everything would change, a day when God would send his mercy and justice and warn the people of what awaited them if they continued in tyranny. God sent his prophet, Hud, peace be upon him, a man from among them, one who knew their pride and arrogance, but whose heart was full of mercy and compassion. He stood before them and said, "O my people, worship God. You have no deity other than him. Will you not be mindful?" His words were simple but full of meaning. He called them to worship God alone and abandon idols that could neither benefit nor harm them. They replied mockingly, "Have you come to make us worship God alone and abandon what our forefathers worshipped? Bring us what you promised if you are truthful." It was not only about worship, it was about their behavior and the corruption they spread on earth. Hud reminded them of God's blessings. And remember when he made you successors after the people of Noah and increased you greatly in stature. So remember the favors of God so that you may prosper. But the people of Ad were harsh in their defiance. They believed their strength protected them from any punishment. They said, "Who is stronger than us?" They mocked him despite all his warnings. They persisted in disbelief, seeing his message as a challenge to their pride. They exaggerated their mockery, asking, "Should we abandon what our forefathers worshipped for the words of one man?" After all this injustice, the land began to change. The once calm winds of Al-Ahqaf began to carry signs of doom. The sky darkened, as if carrying something heavy. They said, "This is a rain cloud coming toward us." They believed it would bring prosperity. But Hud warned them, "This is what you hastened, a wind carrying a painful punishment." Cold winds began to blow, carrying strange sounds. The wind grew stronger, the sand rose violently, dust filled the sky, the sun disappeared, the temperature plunged. The winds roared like wild beasts,
shaking hearts. The ground trembled, houses shook. The wind grew stronger, carrying everything in its path. Palm trees were uprooted. Massive rocks rolled like leaves. Al-Ahqaf turned into chaos, as if the hour had arrived. It was not an ordinary storm. It was a raging wind carrying death, destroying everything it touched. Their fortified houses collapsed one after another. They ran, seeking refuge, but nothing could stand in the wind's path. The winds lifted people into the air and threw them violently to the ground. They flew like leaves, then fell lifeless. Anyone who sought refuge in his home found it collapsing on him. 7 nights and 8 days passed, but for them, it felt like eternity. Nothing was heard except the terrifying roar of the wind. When the wind finally stopped, silence filled the land, but it was not a silence of life. Al-Ahqaf had turned into a barren desert. Nothing remained of the people of Ad except their scattered bodies lying like hollow trunks of palm trees. Bodies, once symbols of strength, now stood as proof of the consequence of tyranny and disbelief. This story is not just a distant past. It is a call to every human being to reflect on his relationship with God, to be grateful for his blessings and to avoid arrogance and injustice. It is a call for humility and reflection on the fate of nations that believed they were eternal. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to support us by liking, subscribing, and activating the notification bell. Your support means a lot to us and helps us continue producing meaningful content. Thank you.